everyone, I'm Christy Lou with Skirt the Ceiling. This is Office Hours Take 2 because the last one we had a weird tilt and I didn't want you guys to have to watch 10 minutes with a weird tilt even though the content is super important, so I wanted to do it again for you all. So today we'll be talking about what can make or break your business attire, and it all has to do with what it's made of. And I've been getting a lot of questions about if SDC is going to do a men's version, but guess what? Today's info session applies to women and menswear, so share with all your guy friends because they are going to want to know this. So let's jump straight in because this is so important, and most people don't know what the difference in material and quality can have, but what your clothes are made of basically defines your entire experience with it. Whether it wrinkles, if the color fades, how do you clean it, does it look professional, and also, most importantly, does it feel good? So a little bit of backstory. The reason why I know so much is because my mom got her undergrad degree in textiles manufacturing, so she can feel material and tell you exactly what it is, what blend, what percentage. And so she would tell me all the time, you shouldn't buy this, the color will fade, you shouldn't buy this, it'll wrinkle, etc., etc. So that is where I got a lot of my knowledge. But as I go through, if you have a lot of questions, feel free to put it in the comments. And if you don't catch every word, don't worry about it. We are having a blog written version, and I'll put the link on this post afterwards. All right, so let's jump straight in. So materials that you're made of, that your clothing are made of, is basically split into two camps. First, we have the natural stuff, and then we have the synthetic man-made materials. So we'll be starting with the natural materials, three categories. First is what we're probably most familiar with, which is cotton. So cotton shows up in a lot of places. You got your button-down shirts, your basics, your jeans. Yes, jeans are actually made out of cotton. And there's obviously a lot of different types and different qualities. But cotton is popular because it's natural, so it's breathable and it absorbs moisture very well. So what that means is that it feels really good. So cotton can keep you warm. And also, if you're sweating a little bit, cotton will absorb that moisture and it won't cling to your body and feel stuffy like polyester might. But the downside is that cotton doesn't hold color as well. So if you remember your old college-free t-shirts, cotton over time with washing or with exposure to the sun, it's gonna fade. So you see that little fuzzy gray haze come over your cotton shirts, and that's why that is. Now the next downside is cotton, it does wrinkle, it doesn't really stand up on its own very well, it shrinks, so it's basically pretty susceptible to its environment. So what that means is it needs a little extra care, maybe a little bit of ironing, but in general I also don't buy cotton in bright colors, but I do love it for my basics, and I love it for anything that I'm going to wear for an extended period of time just because it's comfortable and it feels good on the skin. All right, so next up we have wool, and this comes from sheep. It's animal-based, and wool generally shows up in more formal professional attire. So your suiting, your outerwear, a lot of sweaters, finer, nicer wool like cashmere, it feels soft, but it also has structure. And what that structure means is for example, a suit, it looks like it's gonna stand on its own, as opposed to cotton, which kind of a little more crumbly. Now that creates the clean lines and the professional look that you want for an interview or presentation. Now on the other hand, finer wool, sorry, a little pop-up came up. On the other hand, finer wool, even though it's really thin, it's still very breathable and it absorbs moisture. So what that means is it's really good at keeping you warm, and also wool, if you put it under a microscope, you actually see that it kind of has scales. Looks like fish scales, and that's what gives it its structure. But if you wash it, it's gonna snag, and that structure is gonna get ruined. So generally it's advised to dry clean anything with wool in it. Wool also doesn't hold water, hold color that well when you wash it, exposure to the sun. So generally I look for wool in my professional attire. So the suiting, a nice dress for very professional occasions because it has that clean line, but I don't go for anything too colorful because I know it's not going to stay. Now, the last one for material is natural material is silk. Now silk is fun for silkworms, and so it shows up in fun dresses, skirts, blouses, scarves, and it's known for its draping quality. So if you had a square piece of silk and you put your finger in the middle, it'll drape very nicely down, and that's much better than any other material. Cotton, wool, anything else, it doesn't have the same drapery. But it is delicate, and it's great for that draping skirt, that scarf, because it's so flowy. However, silk is very high maintenance. It hates the sun. Nothing ruins color on silk like the sun. Also, silk is not great in water either, so it does require extra care. So on to the synthetic stuff. So we've covered the naturals. Synthetic, the biggest category is polyester. So it's made at a very high heat and high pressure. So what that means is that it holds color incredibly well. So for example, what I'm wearing here, this is polyester. So the black will not fade, the whites will not become off-white. I have this really cute romper with like these very bright colors, and I know that that's not going to fade even if I laid out in the sun, if I washed it 100 times, because it was made with such high pressure and heat that the color is going to stay. Also, for polyester, the fibers are very strong. So what that means though is that generally it doesn't have any give. So polyester, it's not going to move much. It's not like cotton where it stretches. And also it is good for workwear, but it doesn't really absorb moisture that well. So there is some athletic polyester that's blended and high technology, but that, again, it looks like athletic wear. So polyester also isn't really great for being tempered to your body. So if you're sweating and it's hot, it's gonna stick and cling to you. So I don't love that about it. So if you're going somewhere hot, I'd actually recommend that you pack cotton, not polyester, because when you're sweating, polyester isn't the best. But I do love polyester for fashion items, colorful tops, basically fashion pieces, and also it does have that like flowy blouse look that is very classic for a lot of polyester. All right, so next we have rayon. So rayon is actually plant-based, but it's undergone so much chemicals, processes, that it's basically considered synthetic. So recycled materials such as old clothing can actually get respun, reconstructed, and made into rayon. And also, viscose is a name that you see of very often. It's just a type of rayon. So rayon shows up a lot because it has that shine. It has a little bit of glossiness. So people say that it looks similar to silk, but it feels like cotton. So here I have, this is a rayon, 100% rayon skirt from BCBG. So you see it has like that shininess. And then also it feels a little more, it's a little more cottony, just a little bit more stretchy than polyester. On the plus side, rayon also drapes very well. It has a little bit of that silk look, can be professional because of the gloss, but it can wrinkle easily. So the skirt, you can kind of see it holds the folds just a little bit more than polyester. But I like rayon for the classy look, a lot of classy shine if you want it on your suit or in your skirt or your dresses, but I don't have too much of it. All right, finally, our favorite, our best friend, spandex or elastane. It's like a mini rubber band that gets sewn in or blended in with your materials, allows for the stretchiness. Usually it is blended. It comes in really handy after a big team dinner. I'm really thankful for the 2% that is working very hard after my dinners. And for workwear though, you don't want too much spandex because it's gonna look cheap. You're gonna be able to see those rubber fibers in it. And I generally, like less than 5% is recommended for workwear. Also remember that the more you wash and dry it, the less effective that the stretch gets, because it's basically a rubber band, it's gonna stretch out. So if you do have spandex in the materials, it is recommended that you don't have it on too high of heat, or just don't dry it at all, have it lay dry. And generally though, I love spandex around workwear, especially sometimes even in suiting or in coats, because it gives you that little bit of wiggle room, or in a dress, it can give you that more flattering silhouette. Alrighty, so if you don't already, you should definitely check what the clothing you're buying is made of, because one, you'll know how to take care of it, and two, you know if you're overpaying for basic polyester, because the man-made materials are cheaper to produce versus the natural materials. So where do you find this info? So for pants, generally there's that tag on the waistline with a bundle of tags, and you flip through them and one of them will say what it's made of. In shirts, dresses, skirts, it's usually on the bottom side. And then if you're buying something online, I definitely recommend looking at what it's made of, because that is so critical. You can't touch it, you can't feel it in person, when you're online. And it makes a huge difference, especially for fit. So I remember I was looking online for a dress and I'm wondering if I should be a 2 or like a bigger or smaller size. And if I look at the material and it says 100% polyester, I know that it's not gonna give, so I might go for the bigger size. But if it has cotton, or if it's wool, or if it's 2% spandex, then I know that there's a little bit of stretch into it. So then I might be more likely to go for the smaller size. So it is very critical to check this stuff, especially when you're shopping online. So I know we went over a lot, but just a quick recap. We got the natural stuff, which feels good, doesn't cold color as well, and can be a little bit more fussy and high maintenance, but it is more tempered to your natural skin, feels good. On the other side, you have the man-made synthetic materials, which holds color very well, and also generally less fuss, less wrinkle, but it's not natural, so it doesn't feel quite the same way. But you should definitely get into the habit of looking before you buy, because then you actually know what you're putting on your body. So if you have any comments or questions, and if you like what we're doing, please let us know, because we really want to hear from you. And then also, this is just kicking off one of our many office hours to come. We've got great materials like how to pack for consulting. We've got guests coming on, doing a lot of interviews and using Facebook Live through all of that. So please check our social media to figure out when we're doing the times, and also check back in, because we're really excited for all the great content, and we really want to share all this helpful knowledge with you. If you liked what you saw today, please share with other people, because I think there's a lot of people out there who have basic questions about workwear quality, but they don't know where the first place to look is, and that is where it's made of. So thank you all for joining in today, because ladies, it's time to skirt the ceiling.